Sylvia is making lemonade. She is using a cylindrical container with a radius of 10 centimeters and a height of 30 centimeters, as shown here. Which of the following is closest to the volume of the container? So we will use this formula over here for the volume of a cylinder. So we had to go to the formula sheet and look up the same shape. It's called a cylinder. The formula is volume is equal to pi times r squared times h. I can see that the r is half of the distance across the cylinder, just like it is here. So it's 10, and my h is 30. I'm now going to substitute those values, r equals 10 and h equals 30, into the formula pi r squared h, remembering that r squared means r times r. I have volume equals pi, 3.14, 10 squared times 30. So I'm going to, in my calculator, I'm going to go 3.14 times 10 times 10 times 30. When I put it inside my calculator, I got 9,420. And looking over here, I did centimeters times centimeters, and it's volume, so it's going to be centimeters cubed. Well, now that I've done the question, I'm going to look at the options, and I can see that the closest one happens to be B, so 9,425. In this question, we have a CD case, and it has the dimensions that are shown here, so 14 by 12.5 by 0.5. Once again, I'm going to look at the formula sheet to find the same shape. So the rectangular prism here, the rectangular prism here. The formula then is the length times the width times the height. I'm going to begin. I will substitute the values shown in the diagram, length, width, and height, to do my work. Once I've plugged the numbers in and used my calculator, I got 87.5, and that will be centimeters cubed. I'm going to check my work and look over here, so it is answer C. In this question, we have a cone that has a height of 12 centimeters and a radius of 5 centimeters. Again, we're going to go to the formula sheet and find the cone formula. I happen to like this version of the cone formula, so it's going to be pi times r squared times h divided by 3. I'm going to use r equal to 5 and h equal to 12 and pi equal to 3.14. Okay, so I substituted 5 in for the radius and 12 in for the height based on this diagram. I put this in the calculator, 3.14 times 5 squared times 12, and then divided by 3. And I end up with 314 centimeters cubed. Alright, so at this point I'm going to move the box, and I can see that my answer of 314 is here, 314.2. For this question, we have a fully opened parachute shaped like a half of a sphere or a hemisphere. It has a diameter of 8, as shown below. We want to know what is the following, which of the following numbers is closest to the volume of air that can fit in the open parachute. So again, we're looking at volume. So volume of this hemisphere. Now keep in mind that they have given us the diameter of the sphere, not the radius, and the formula calls for the radius. Alright, I'm going to begin. Okay, so looking at the diameter, we know it's 8, so the radius then is equal to 4. So this formula that we've been given here is a formula for an entire sphere, the whole thing, and you'll notice that we only have half. So once we find the volume of the whole sphere, we're going to have to find the volume of the half, so we'll divide by 2. Okay, so I use the formula the way that I see it up here. Volume equals 4 times pi times r cubed divided by 3. So 4 times 3.14 times 4 times 4 times 4. Or use the y to the x button on your calculator. Then divide by 3. But, like I said, this formula is for the entire sphere, and we only have half of a sphere. So we need one more step. We need to divide by 2. Okay, so I've calculated the half sphere. So I used the formula, and that gave me a whole sphere with a radius of 4. Then I know that I only need half the sphere, so I divided by 2 in this step. So my final answer then is 133.975 cubic meters. I'm going to reveal my answers, and I can see that the closest one then would be the 134. Oftentimes EQAO likes to give a small item put inside a larger box. So we want to find out how many of these CDs will go in here. Elisa wants to pack these CD cases into this storage box. And the question is, what is the largest number of CD cases Elisa can pack inside this box? So this here is a rectangular prism, and we'll use this formula. This is also a rectangular prism, so I'll use this formula. To find out how many of these go in here, my last step would be to divide those numbers. So I'm going to begin calculating volumes. I calculated each of the volumes. So the volume of the CD case is 175 cubic centimeters, and the volume of the box is 10,640 centimeters cubed. So what I need to do is find out how many of these will actually fit in here. And in order to do that, I think division will work best. Okay, so when I divided out 10,000 is the size of the box divided by the size of one CD, it told me I could put 60.8 CDs in. Now obviously I'm not going to put 0.8 of a CD in. That doesn't make any sense to use this CD. So I'm going to look at my options. I'm thinking that the best number will be 60. So about 60 is correct. So I'm going to highlight that one. Okay, so this figure is actually made up of two figures. So we have a square-based prism or rectangular prism, and then a cone on top. And the question is, which is the closest to the volume? So we're working volume again. I'll go over and look at my volume sheet, and I realize that I need, for the top, I need a volume of a cone, so pi r squared h divided by 3. And for the bottom, I need the volume of a rectangular prism, so length times width times height. As soon as you see that word volume, you know that you have to go looking at this particular formula sheet and choose the formulas that are correct. So I'm realizing that as I'm trying to put the formula together over here, I need pi r squared h divided by 3. And you can look at your cone and I can't see an r. However, all the way across is the same width as this particular box, and we can see that it's 14 across, so the cone would also be 14 across, and if that's true, then this radius will be 7. The volume of the cone is 512.86 repeating, so I made it 512.9. Now I'll do the box. As I'm filling in my length, width, and height, I notice that I've been given the length and the height, but this one is hasn't been given. However, these little strokes on the side lengths mean that they're equal. So this is 14, and this is 14, and the back is 14, and the side is 14. Okay, so I calculated the cone at 512.9 and the box at 3,528. Now because they are combined, I need to add those two figures. Okay, so the answer I got was 40. Okay, so the answer I received or figured out was 4,040.9. I'm going to check my work here. And you can see that the closest number then is B, 4041 cubic centimeters. I would like to wish you good luck as you continue to study for EQAO, and I will post some more videos.